Swag, swag, swag. How's it going, guys? My name's Tristan, and I am a professional amateur body man. And this is Eric, an actual professional body man. And today we're gonna be reacting to some nightmare body shop jobs that will keep you up at night. First clip.
It's a rock.
Oh my goodness, it's cement. The other body filler.
Can you imagine rolling your fenders and then a rock falls out?
You get hit in the face, try to roll it.
Yeah.
Bam. My name's Eric. I teach at Riverside City College. I teach auto body. I do custom paint, and I do stuff that's probably a lot nicer than this stuff right here. Unfortunately, in this situation, that would need to be all probably cut out and redone. I mean, if it wasn't that rusty and all that, I would probably say fix the metal work behind it, do proper metal work, do some filler, and then paint over it.
If you're in a budget, though.
Smooth out as much as you can, get as much of that rust off as possible, and then probably just hit it with some hardcore filler. If you have rust, treat the rust, and then encapsulate the rest of it, and then go to town after that. You just want to prevent the rust from spreading underneath the paint, because by the time you see it, it's a lot more damage than what's visible.
Rust is like cancer.
That's why they call it cancer. Next clip.
All right, this customer is complaining about an air noise when they're driving at highway speeds. Turns out is it a much larger issue.
Oh my goodness.
This is a very, very poorly done repair. You can see there's just holes in the metal. Rust has gotten underneath and eaten away.
Oh my goodness.
This is definitely not getting a windshield back in it today until this has been treated properly. To top it off, the last windshield that was replaced was smashed, and there's still glass all over under the dash.
Dude, this is like a nightmare situation.
Yeah, it's a mix of a poor repair and someone that probably put a windshield in and forgot to tell the guy that it's not gonna fit. It's all hidden damage.
It's all hidden. Like, you could get your windshield cracked, and then some bozo like me can I've done this before. I'm never doing glass again. There's 3 things you don't do, okay? At least that I don't do. I'm never doing a windshield again, or any glass, ever. I'm never tinting anything, and I'm not doing an alignment. So just 3 things I'm not doing. But this is so sad because I bet this guy broke his windshield, right? Some dude came out, repaired it, and didn't prime it.
It actually looks like it's probably way worse than that. It looks like there's some sort of damage before, and it was just never visible because there's gonna be a pillar cover right there, right? So I don't know where that damage came from, what actually happened, did it get hit? Was it leaking? And depends on where it's from, it was rusting over the years, but probably the guy, if he bought that used, didn't even know that was there. And then he has a broken windshield, opens it, and finds out that he has a way worse problem.
Let's look at those spot welds. So I think you're right. It looks like those were just, somebody laid down some boogers on it.
Yeah, you see that crack right there? There's just definitely something going on there. This car probably was in an accident before, wasn't repaired correctly. And then once they were done, they got it to look pretty with some halfway bodywork, some filler, and a new windshield. And what sucks is that you probably wouldn't see that anytime soon when you first bought it. Say you bought it today, you may hit a rock chip, get a rock chip next year. And you take it off and like, oh wow, that was the reason why I heard all that air coming through my car. I thought it was a door molding or something. Turns out my windshield, my whole air pillar is not even connected anymore. But it's no good. And the guy's in for a new van probably. So.
I feel for you, Kia van man.
Next clip. Oh my.
I'll fix it.
You gonna fix it?
I can try.
Whoa, wait. Was his son driving the jet ski?
As it looks like, he barely sees over the handlebars.
What the hell? Is he laughing? I think in the beginning of the clip, I think the dad's giggling. While his offspring, his bloodline, is barreling towards the back of his Silverado on a jet ski.
Tailgate, I'll probably just replace.
Yeah.
It's not really worth the time fixing it for how much you'd have to charge hourly. Just buy a new tailgate.
The way-
it's one color, respray it.
The way I see it as a professional amateur body man, whenever I see a hard crease, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm out.
You know,
No.
that passes up my 1 hour of time I'm willing for this car. I'm gonna swap it out. But they are very expensive, so
They are?
depending on the new tailgates, they have a lot of electronics in them. Some of them have multiple hinges inside of them and cameras and sensors.
It's like the Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Yeah, you turn on a Bluetooth tailgate drop.
Heated tailgate.
Yeah. But they do have a lot of stuff in new tailgates, so chances are that might be an over $1,000 tailgate if it's a newer vehicle.
100%. Yeah.
If it just broke off the top plastic and maybe just a little bit of work here and there, you could fix it. But if it's crushed the way it kind of looked like, it might be time for a new.
My go-to with truck beds is I love how they just can just pop off with a couple of bolts.
They're super easy, unfortunately, and that's why they get stolen. If you see a new car with no tailgate, he probably didn't do that on purpose.
Okay, well, y'all lock your tailgates up.
You guys want to hear a real scary story?
Yeah.
This is the tale of the car owner who didn't use Valvoline Restore and Protect? There once was an engine that sat in a muscle car in a barn. One day, the old man who owned it wanted to go for one last drive. He didn't use Valvoline Restore and Protect.
What? Why? Valvoline Restore and Protect helps remove up to 100% of engine-killing deposits.
And it helps fuel economy, boost horsepower, and provides 79% more anti-wear protection than the industry standard.
I know, right? Some people say he didn't even know about Valvoline Restore and Protect. Others say he wanted the engine to seize.
Tell me the engine was safe.
It didn't even make it out of the driveway. Deposit buildup on the pistons killed it as soon as he put the car in gear.
What was he thinking?
And y'all, to this day, they say that you can still hear the pistons grinding. This Valvoline, turn back time on your engine before it's too late. Use Valvoline Restore and Protect. Click the link below to learn more.
Next clip. Okay, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
But I don't see it going well.
It could work. It's not going to be a PDR move, but it's going to move the majority of it. Definitely doable. Goal is get the majority out. If you have a big damage, you're going to want to, where did it initially get hit? And you want to reverse that. He's using a inflatable, looks like a basketball. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
He was thinking outside the box.
Outside the spear. Do you feel like after he inflated the basketball, he was like using like a hammer and dolly?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely was a hammer and dolly after. He probably used a lot of like PDR techniques. If you look at the paint, it doesn't seem to be horribly damaged, and he didn't just bang it, grind it, and try to fill it with something, right? PDR is a paintless dent removal, and what they'll do is they have special tools to try to get these little dings and dents flat.
Have you seen what they're doing on doors now?
They're amazing.
With the wah, and it goes, pops the whole door out.
The PDR guys are amazing, and now they have glue dent removal. What they're doing is essentially trying to save as much of that paint without grinding it down, without putting filler.
It always baffles me whenever people have a part that's so easily replaceable, like a front fender. Like the amount of time he probably spent on that front fender getting it to look like that.
And this is a newer car, I probably don't care that much about it, but some cars you may want to take, I want all the original parts in this. I don't want to replace any parts. I don't want anything aftermarket. Maybe there's only an aftermarket replacement available. You know what, that might not fit very well. How much can you fix it? I don't care, I'll pay more. And other guys put rocks in it. Next clip.
So right here, we have this pretty poor repair where they pulled out the door. Again, this is why when you buy a car, you have someone come inspect it. Look at that, look how thick the paint is. And I'll show you the roof as comparison.
Yeah, that's kind of what you want to see.
So because it was pulled and improperly repaired, it is now rusting. So now the door either has, it's probably gonna have to get replaced. Also, we got really poor runs in the paint up here. If you can see that right there. So this is why you hire a consultant before you buy a car. So that way you don't have this issue.
This one, what he's talking about is this is a poor repair. Probably the guy didn't do any body work at all. So the guy that we saw earlier using that football or the basketball to pull out that fender, this guy didn't go that far. He rolled up some Bondo, fastballed it to the side of it, hit it, spread it out, sanded it smooth, and painted it.
What is that? What is that? So is that a measurement? How does that read?
And you're just measuring the thickness of the paint. You saw when he was measuring the roof, you'd see two. Average, you're gonna see about that number, right? On this one, if you look at the thickness of it, what it's telling him is that there is a lot of space in between that metal. Chances of a whole bunch of paint that thick, probably not happening. It's probably a bunch of filler and then paint on top of it.
I'm curious to see what the inside of that door looks like.
It
if
probably,
you were to take that door card off, like how it's functioning with like the window and all the mechanisms and everything.
You have a lot of room in there. If you did take off the door card and look inside of it, you would see all the damage. So if someone did the proper metal work, you may see the impact marks from where they push things out to try to make it as straight as possible before you put your filler. That one's probably all in there. So you pull it out, you see the window, roll the window up, and you'll see it's probably all smashed in. Some people say, I want almost no filler. So maybe you're doing you could be doing hundreds and hundreds of hours of just metal work. Make the car super straight. You could primer it down, sand it down, check for high and low spots, hit the high and low spots, and then go from there. Some people won't even do that. They'll just sand it, put Bondo in it or filler inside of it, and spray it and send it on its way.
I've done that.
It works, but is it gonna last as long? Depends on how deep it is. If it doesn't get hit again, there's a lot of factors for that.
I feel like as soon as I have kids, my acceptability of repairs is gonna change.
You think about what happens if we get hit again?
Yeah.
I never thought about this whole section of this car.
It's like,
now I'm thinking of it.
Next clip.
This gentleman was quoted $41,000 to repair this thing from one of the local body shops in this area. We have a very large dent in the corner of this Rivian truck. He actually got quoted at a local body shop $41,000 for this repair. And before you freak out, you have to understand how these vehicles are made. This isn't a bed like a normal pickup truck. This is more like an SUV. We decided to go for it.
It's probably one piece.
Put it on the
Yep, it's
transport
tied
truck
all
and
the way
drive
up to
down
the
here
A-pillar.
us. With all the invasive procedures that have to be done, we believe paintless dent removal is the best option in this case.
PDR is the way to go to save as much paint as possible. Look at how he has that set up right now. You can touch a lot of surface area now. Where before it was just hammering and tapping, right? The glue that they use right now, super strong, and you can do a lot with it.
How do you release the glue?
Usually you use I think, alcohol. So.
Car design can dictate just how brutally horrific a repair cost can be, and the Rivian, just the way that it's built, just the way that the panels are tied together.
How much do you need to take apart? And there might be a lot of steps just to get to one point. Look at the original Honda Ridgeline. That was one piece all the way across. You have damage, like you may have to replace the whole side of a car. Now they actually have a separate bed-looking area. You can pull that off. This car is not like that. This car has one piece. You have to be really, really careful. And probably what they were doing was quoting him for taking off that side of the panel. That's why PDR will save you in a lot of ways, if it's doable.
I beat up any truck that I get. Like I had a Tacoma. The bed is fiberglass, so it just bolted on because you're not welding to fiberglass. So whenever like it would just get trashed.
You can do it.
This, no.
I know one guy growing up was my neighbor. He travels the whole country doing PDR. He makes really good money. And if you're talented at this and you know how to do it, you are sought after for things like this. I don't know how much he charges, but I guarantee it's not $41,000. But the customer that had to pay that out was very happy that he was able to get this done and not have to pay so much. It's a much cheaper solution when you go in and you get a brand new car, a nice car, and might have a couple of dings. May seem expensive. They want, $400 or $500 to remove a little dings here and there. But when the guy comes over with his thickness tool, he's like, hey, guess what? This is all original paint.
You're good, man. Next clip.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Body shops in
It's
Russia.
a Russian frame. Yeah, dude, it's a Russian frame machine, bro.
Next thing you know, a bear comes out the back of it or something. The frame machine itself is just really securing that vehicle, right? And then it'll have like a hydraulic ram to pull. If you can get the weight of the vehicle, just it's sitting there, right? And you use a ram jack just to pull out, say it was your rear bumper crash bar, it's gonna work, right? Something's gonna have to overpower. Either that jack is so powerful it's pulling the car, or the weight of it's not gonna let it move and you're gonna bend it back. So it's just a nicer, more predictable way when you're on a frame machine. But you could definitely do that, at least get it in a ballpark area. I've done the same thing before, like got a car that was crashed, those little poles inside your garage that are
the bollards.
That so you don't run into your washing machine. Just go there. This side needs to go in a little bit more. Just start tapping it until it goes in.
I used the pillars in my garage, and I was so scared those were about to go. And I would, yeah. If I was a broke boy, and I got it relatively straight, and I got a laser pointer from Home Depot or something, and I try to make it look straight, I think what I would do is on any creases, I would just put like a patch, like secondary skin of metal over it to just reinforce it and call it a day.
So you can do that, depending on how it crumpled. Old cars, like 60s cars, you run into something, you're plowing through it, like, hey, the car doesn't look that bad, but the guy inside was dead, right? Because he's bouncing around. These cars are meant to crumple. So you hit something, it's meant to absorb all the impact and dissipate it through all the different panels, so there may be a lot more damage than just that corner. If you straighten that out the way he did it, it would definitely be compromised. Even if you hammer and dolly and try to put the shape back in, it has already started a crease. So it's more likely to crease again, and actually crease way easier than it did. You can't fix it like that and say, here you go, this is a car that you can feel safe with in your family, and you get in a way more minor accident and the damage is way worse and you find out it was already crashed.
So my initial thought of just like, oh yeah, just reinforce the area. It's like, oh, now it's not gonna crumple the way it's supposed to.
It won't crumple the way it's designed to. So chances are it won't crumple there, right? But it may not dissipate that force the way it was intended to in the beginning. So I remember going to a training a long time ago, and this was like a 2005 Honda Accord or something. And it was a new car at the time. And they were talking about how a hood was designed to impact a pedestrian. Like, you are more likely to survive this impact because the way it's designed and the way it's gonna crumple instead of just bouncing off a hard surface. So they have a lot of time and consideration in protecting you and anyone that might be involved.
And that's why pop-up headlights don't exist anymore.
Exactly, poor pop-up.
Because you're a pedestrian and all of a sudden you get clipped by an S13 and you're just like, oh!
When you have a big
just gored by a headlight.
piece of glass coming through your stomach, it's not gonna be so great.
Next clip. He's got the impact. I can already see Bondo. I can see the Bondo.
It's not how to rule fenders. This is a way to roll a fender improperly.
Here's the deal with fender rolling. You're like, oh, I'm just rolling fenders. It's super easy. You know, whatever. I'll do it myself. I'll save some money. No. You are gonna look at those fenders for the rest of the time you own that car and say, if I just spent $200, it wouldn't look like bacon. It wouldn't be.
If you try to move metal too fast, bad stuff's gonna happen. So a lot of times when you see guys doing rolling fenders and they're doing it properly, they're usually going very slow. So you're gonna start from, say the side of your fender is at a 90-degree angle. You're going to just start slowly pushing it up, and then as you get it and start folding it, then you might start pushing out, and you're gonna do this with heat also. You don't wanna get too hot, you don't wanna burn the paint, but you wanna go slow. The slower and you move the metal in small increments with heat, you're probably gonna be fine. If you have Bondo, like how this guy has, or some sort of filler in it, it's not gonna bend. It's gonna be super hard, and once you get it past that point where it's wanting to bend, it's just gonna snap off just like that did.
And if you wanna roll your fenders and you're terrified of this happening, just take a little magnet and just run it along the edge of your fender and just go boop, 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 boop. And if it doesn't stick, there's probably filler there.
Next clip.
Okay. Who needs duct tape when we got good old Bondo? So, Corvette's made of fiberglass,
Correct.
most of the body parts. It looks like he's using cardboard as backing and then putting some long hair on with a paint spreader.
That's probably not the best way that you're gonna want to
No.
repair that fiberglass. If you've seen how fiberglass is made, right? It's like a sheet. It's a actual fabric material you put on, and you put the resin on it. I usually use stuff like that, like the kitty hair, to fill in all the imperfections
Exactly.
after I did the fiberglass repair. So he's skipping a step. That cardboard is just gonna make that kitty hair look the shape of it, but it's not gonna be strong. Someone's gonna lean on the side of that fender and it's gonna break off.
What's interesting about kitty hair is at certain thicknesses, it snaps like sun-aged plastic.
Yeah. It's not just the fiberglass and the resin, right? The fiberglass mat and the resin is what is the strong part. This is like a filler with fiberglass inside
So
of it.
it's just a bunch of dust and glue and fiberglass.
It's essentially putting like Bondo, but with fiberglass inside of it.
In a scenario like this, where you have those hard edges, would you bevel them down?
So say you had a bracket that broke off, you may have to taper that damage out, and then you would end up filling with fiberglass and then doing the layers on top of it.
Because when you have all those hard edges like that, there's
It's
no
not gonna-
transition. It's just
yeah.
resting on that one edge.
It's not gonna hold. The only thing that's holding is the very edge of that whole piece. So you could like
And it'll
break
pop
it off.
right out.
Not gonna last. It will last when he paints it and the guy drives it away and he goes over his first bump and is sad that he already signed the piece.
When he rolls his fenders. When he rolls his fiberglass fenders. Next clip.
Yeah, we done hit it with the red door helmet. We done hit it with the red stripe. We done hit it with the red door helmet.
I hope that's plastic dip.
Ooh, hold on. Let's check out the other side. Let's check out the other side. We done hit it with the red door helmet. We done hit it with the red stripe.
Oh man.
The door open the door. The red head is.
He might be colorblind. I don't know if those colors go together, but to each his own. Perfect example of just because you can doesn't mean you should.
As a teenager, I did so much stupid stuff like this. I'd have no money, and I just want to make my car different or modify it, and the first thing you do is you buy a can of spray paint. He seems stoked, dude.
Yeah,
he seems
that's
stoked.
all that matters. He's happy.
Exactly,
It's his
man.
car. There's some people that's like, hey, I won't do this because you don't like it, right? Or in their mind, they're saying, hey, if they don't like it, I'm probably not gonna do it. This guy does not care about your thoughts. He is his own person. He is happy, and that's all that matters.
Exactly, dude. His day's better. His car is slightly more red.
Yep. And he's gonna learn. He's gonna learn after the third time he washes that thing and starts coming off that door handle. Maybe I should prep it next time. And he'll go even better next time. He's definitely dripping, so I'm sure that was sprayed hard, so it's probably oversprayed all over the place. Unless you want to buff it out, I would definitely take some time to bag off or paper off, however you're gonna do it. Mask up the rest of the car to do those. If I was gonna do handles, I usually tell you to take them off.
Yeah. Whenever I really, really don't want to mask something off, and it's like a small job, I'll just put PV blaster all over the areas I don't want paint this
But
thick.
now you have a contaminant involved. So what if a piece of it, that PV blast sprays onto your handle, it's not gonna stick there. So after you're done painting it, it's gonna look ugly. You're gonna have to touch it up. Now you're doing the job twice.
Listen to the professional, not the professional amateur.
Next clip.
God damn it.
I made an incredibly exciting discovery about the S14.
Hey, I know that guy.
Do you see how much Bondo that is? Do you see how deep it goes?
Ooh,
Do you see this?
Handmade body
See
kits.
how deep this goes?
Drift car?
That's a lot of Bondo. I think I'm
I was, in fact. S14s all the OEM panels, they're discontinued.
Yeah.
You can't get anything. And if you can get a section off of a parts car, usually it's mangled.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like this was me being very inexperienced and not having a lot of money, trying to make things work, but I still got a lot to learn.
You gotta start somewhere.
A lot of the times you just gotta know when to walk away.
Yeah, I mean,
that car is now a cube. Okay? I ended up taking it down to the bare metal, using a stud welder and pulling it out as much as possible. I braced the transmission tunnel with some wood and then used the ram jack to push the B pillar out. But then after all that, I was doing all the math and like how much hours and time
is
and
it
money
worth it?
I was like, this thing is,
Yeah.
it's never gonna be good. It's never gonna be great. It's just gonna be at best okay.
Yeah, if it's not going to be your forever car, it didn't have some sort of sentimental value to you, you know, your dad bought it brand new and gave it to you, then like, you may just want to start off with a new platform.
Whoever did the Bondo work here was just Picasso. They should have become a sculptor. Look how the seam is not correct. See?
Yeah.
How off to the right,
Yeah.
you see the correct one, and then to the left, he made the fake seam.
Yeah, unfortunately, you see that a lot. Used cars, you know, you may get something like that fender looks a little bit weird, and then you find out that you have 3 inches of Bondo.
It was heartbreaking, but honestly, this video lit such a fire under my ass that I don't think I'd be where I am today.
And see,
without
and
it.
that, so it was a blessing in disguise.
Exactly.
You know, everything's gonna be a door to open somewhere else. So that was, if you didn't have this, like you said, you may not be here, or maybe you wouldn't try as hard, or look for certain things, or be as involved you are today.
Exactly.
Tell you, I'm learning every day.
Yeah.
Actually, you taught me some words today. I don't remember what they were, but
Skibbity toilet.
yep, that one.
Next clip. Car bumper repair by old school way. Hey bro, you with old school way?
All right, I'm assuming he's gonna do some plastic welding here. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, these are like the videos that you're scrolling through when you're like on the toilet.
So definitely you can do it this way. I usually try to melt the pieces, not just have those like staple looking tabs inside of it. Like, say how he's melting that tab inside of it. Usually what I'll do if I'm doing a plastic weld is kind of cut into the damage. So where you saw the cracks were at, you can actually cut into that and you can weld plastic into it. So we have
like the little noodles.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
We have at school we have a nitrogen welder. So essentially what it's doing is getting the plastic really, really hot. You end up putting the plastic inside of it and you can just, you know, shove it into the hole, grind it down. Definitely would work, but because it's just held in by those little tabs, there's gonna be movement inside of that. So eventually that's gonna crack. I just like to cut it, weld it inside. If there's a piece missing, like say you cut this piece in half, then I may weld it together and I might put that as strength inside of it. It's almost like, imagine welding metal, but you're just doing it with plastic. Unless you cut that groove perfect and fill the top of it perfectly, you're probably gonna have to sand some of that away. So a lot of times what you're doing is you want penetration, you want the whole thing to melt. You just don't want it on the very top surface of the outside because now the backside is still cracked and now it's way thinner.
It's sort of like when you're welding how you have the valley.
Exactly.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
And laying the filler in?
Exactly.
Okay.
So you may have a crack, and you do the same thing with fiberglass sometimes. You might have like a crack that's starting. You could drill a hole to stop that crack, and then you can dig it out and then put epoxy inside of it and sand it down.
What I normally do is I take a Dremel and I just run it all the way along the crack,
exactly.
and then from the backside I put panel bond, squeeze it through, and then sand it flat.
Panel bond is an amazing thing. Panel bond is really good for metal. You can use it for a lot of different things, but it's very, very strong. It's what they use to actually put panels together in unibody cars.
People don't realize it, but like a lot of cars are glued together.
Oh yeah, especially new stuff. You may have a roof that is glued on. You know, if you have a carbon fiber roof like on an M3, you're not gonna weld it on, right? It's gonna be the whole thing's gonna be glued on. And a lot of times what they do is they may spot weld certain things, but a lot of times a lot of it may be panel bonded onto it.
If you guys don't know what panel bond is, look at like some YouTube video of experiments of how strong it is.
Yes.
It's like alien technology.
Yeah.
It has glass beads in it so that like when you cement two things together, it has perfect spacing. What?
It's strong.
Is crazy. Next clip.
It's on a frame machine. Let's see what he's got going on here.
I see rust. Some spot welds cut out.
It looks like it would be the
Some glue tabs.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like he's in a very professional environment.
Yeah.
Hammering it out. Okay. Hammer and dolly action.
Yeah. This one probably was an insurance job because the way that car looks like it's damaged, it's probably a rear end. And you will be surprised how many times you see a car that's been rear-ended and they just put a bumper cover over it and send it.
Really?
And don't actually fix the damage. So if you look in a used car and you pop the trunk and you say, hey, that spare tire well looks very small. Pretty sure it's supposed to be bigger than that. Probably got rear-ended and never was fixed, right?
The first thing I do whenever I'm buying a car is like the rear bumper cover. I always put my hand underneath and feel that crash bar to feel if it's like straight.
Because if that could be easily be hidden by a clean bumper that this was resprayed and you would never see it again.
And I've had friends like they get rear-ended, they think they're fine, and then they're just like, hey, I got rear-ended on the way home. And you look at my car and I look underneath, I'm like, dude, your car's totaled. And it looks fine.
Insurance will say, hey, that was a $1,000 accident, right? But then you'll get a supplement. You go to your body shop that you go to and they took the bumper off, like, wow, this whole structure is pushed in. It's not $1,000. It's not just repainting a bumper. It is pulling the back of it out because your crash bar went into your trunk.
I think this guy did a great job.
Yeah, he's probably doing
flexing his glue tabs.
Yeah, exactly. That shows how good glue tabs are.
Yeah. Next clip.
Oh my God.
All right.
Wow. It's gonna be more than a little work. Looks like it's useful for about an engine, trans, and a trunk.
He's a victim of an Avengers movie. Hulk used his car as a weapon, and now he's got to go to work.
You know what I'll do? I would find out where all the VINs are. I'll buy another one, and I'll cut out all the VINs on the other one and weld those things back in.
Isn't that illegal?
That's illegal. I'm pretty sure. There's no way that thing's going back on the road. Actually, you know what shows really good about this vehicle being a newer car? Look how much damage it does and it's driving down the street. That just shows, like, with that much mangledness, it is still somehow rolling and driving down the street.
It's not about how destroyed the car looks, it's about the area where the driver is sitting.
Exactly. If you look at really bad car accidents, it's like you're like in the capsule when it's done. Hopefully you walk
Volvo XC90.
Volvos are some of the safest cars. They are known for rolling over and being good at it.
I had because they do the moose test. They basically have this massive rubber fake moose, and you have to ram
Oh my
it.
God.
And it's supposed to hit the roof line and the windshield, and it's not supposed to have any intrusion.
Next clip. Custom paint.
Ew! Oh my God, you know like those lotus pod trypophobia things?
Oh my goodness. Is he plasma cutting?
He's going hard, but that car is...
That's insane. I've never seen that before. It's gonna rust. I would imagine that thing will probably buckle under its own weight.
Really?
Yeah. If you do that to the whole car, I mean, I can't imagine the door shutting without the side of that car moving after that.
You know what'd be cool if you backlit it? You put some lights behind it,
Yeah.
and have it be like a little lantern.
Probably what he's gonna do is light on fire after.
Yeah,
You have a lot of backlighting after that. Cool idea. Wouldn't be driving it though.
All right, y'all, thanks for watching. If you want to see me and Master Mechanic Angelina react to some of the most cursed car repairs on TikTok, click here. And thank you, Eric, for being a professional body man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being amateur.
I feel like I have a lot to learn from you, sir.
We have a lot to learn from each other.
I appreciate it.